Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be going over the Synastry chart between Charlie Kirk and his wife Erika, and I'm going to be honoring their connection through their Synastry chart with asteroids and aspects associated with their love, devotion, and the destiny between the two of them. Let's get started. In her natal chart, she has the asteroid Melpomene conjuncting her north node. So this means that this is ultimately going to be the destiny and theme of her life, because Melpomene has to do with Greek tragedy. So her life's theme and destiny has the energy associated around the tragedy of losing her husband while they were married. And there is a grief here that is visible and dramatic and theatrical. If you saw the video that she uploaded to her Instagram with her crying over his casket, that is highly associated with the energies of Melpomene. Now, this is chilling because he has Melpomene conjuncting his Juno, and Juno has to do with marriage. So here's a clue that she was going to lose him while she was married to him. And his chart literally carries the shadow of marital tragedy because, like I said, Melpomene has to do with tragedy and it's conjuncting his Juno, the asteroid of union and marriage. That just reminded me, if you haven't seen the video that I uploaded with Charlie Kirk's natal chart, it's in my playlist under Natal Spotlight. So I'm going to be getting back to these two. Now here comes some prophecy and pain. His Chiron conjuncts her Juno, Union, and Agamemnon. This is a validation because in his natal chart, his groom conjuncts Agamemnon, and that pain was written into the marriage from the start. Agamemnon is the king who was unalived after returning from the Trojan War. So this points directly to the untimely death of him, making the tragedy of this union prophetic. Now, his Chiron conjuncting her Juno, that brings pain into the marriage. Union is the same energy as Juno, and Agamemnon, just like I just described, there's going to be this painful situation regarding the ending of the marriage because of his unaliving, and that has to do with Agamemnon. Her Jupiter, Erika, Angel, Pythia conjuncts his south node and his night and Eta asteroid. Okay, so there's a lot going on here, and I'm going to break this down and tell you exactly the energies associated with all of these asteroids holding hands, conjuncting his south node, and Jupiter is there as well. So Erika carries the energy of becoming a widow. And there is also Angel and Pythia here. So you get this prophecy and divine messages. And she was his spiritual angel, a heaven-sent energy, almost a sense that there's loss, that there was going to be a loss that taps right into their religious beliefs and their religious devotion because Jupiter is here. And her Jupiter is expanding these energies. Now, when all of this conjuncts Charlie's south node and the asteroids Night and Eta, the picture sharpens because Night is devotion and loyalty, and Eta is sorrow and mourning and the dynamics of until death do us part. So because it's on his south node, there's this, it denotes a familiar sort of energy, a familiar karmic contract, and it is possibly carried over from a past life. Now, her Venus conjuncts his Sun and his Jupiter. So they're spiritually connected. He expanded and brought out all of the love that she felt for him. And she loved him deeply because of his Jupiter expanding this, and her Venus is also conjuncting his Sun as well. Now I have to go back to her North Node because I forgot to mention that his Orpheus and Lust conjuncts her North Node. Orpheus is the poet who is bound to love, death, and mourning. His story is one of devotion that's tied to loss. So the devotion is unwavering here, but ultimately tragic. Now, lust adds intensity and desire to this relationship. It's one of the themes as well, because this shows there's passion and tragedy and grief are all woven in together because her Melpomene is conjuncting her North Node. So she experienced this deeply because her Chiron is conjuncting her Dolores natally. And Dolores has to do with pain and suffering, which will be one of the greatest pains in her life due to the Chiron conjunction here. And the conjunction between Chiron and Dolores is at 0 degrees. That is the tightest orb. So the energy here is very strong. Her Mars, the war planet, in the fiery sign of Aries, is conjuncting his Atropos. This awakens her response to finality and loss. So when he died, her energy went full force. Grief turned into action. And that's why she said that she was going to fight for his legacy. And with her moon in Aries, it's going to happen because that's the angry, assertive moon energy going on here. Her Echo was the wood nymph in Greek mythology who retreated into the forest and pined over love lost. So Echo on his North Node, it amplifies this story, his story, repeating and broadcasting the sorrow so it can't stay private. It carries longing and the pull of someone who can't let go. And it mirrors the grief and devotion that we see with her Melpomene and his Orpheus on her North Node. So that was the destiny and the themes associated with this relationship. Now, this is interesting because this is what she said. Quote, "The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry," unquote. The cries of this widow ties back to Irafila. Echo, I just explained that. Around the world like a battle cry ties back to her Mars and Aries conjuncting his Atropos. She also mirrors the way he thinks because they share a Mercury conjunct Pluto, double whammy. So together they can dig up deeply buried truths and see through the surface. Now, on top of that, her Mercury is conjuncting his Mercury. So this means that they will think alike, even finishing each other's sentences. Now, I forgot to mention as well that in his natal chart, he also has the asteroid Bellona, the Greek goddess of war, and it's conjuncting his Mercury. So he's not afraid of confrontation or aggression, and especially in Scorpio, and his Mercury is conjuncting his Mars. Now, her Isis conjuncts his Venus. And this ties into, in astrology, it represents devotion, protection, and the binding force in love and relationships. In mythology, she was the goddess who restores her husband, Osiris, after his murder. So this embodies loyalty and ensures the survival of love beyond death. His Ixion and Pluto conjuncts her sun. In Greek mythology, Ixion has to do with, again, unaliving. I don't want to say the M word too much because I don't want this to get flagged with inappropriate sort of commentary. You know what I mean. So his Ixion and Pluto is conjuncting her sun, and she witnessed his assassination, but she was divinely protected because his Isis conjuncts her sun, and she brought warmth and sunshine into his life because her sun conjuncts his Pluto, and her sun also conjuncts his North Node. So when he met her, there was this illumination and warmth that he felt, and also a lot of love because of his Jupiter conjuncting her Venus and her Venus conjuncting his sun. Now, also on the day that he passed, this is really interesting. Here's a goosebump moment for you. September 10th was when he passed, and the transit asteroid Melpomene, again, and his Mars are holding hands. So transit Melpomene and Mars made a conjunction to his sun. So Mars is the war planet. It has the energies of aggression, and it rules weapons, guns, and Melpomene, a tragedy that happened to him. Now, talking of guns, on that day, the gun asteroid made a direct conjunction to his natal Venus, and Venus rules the neck. And also, the gun asteroid transiting, it made a conjunction to his natal Juno and Melpomene. So now we have the ending of a marriage, tragically, because of a firearm. So when you look at their chart together, their Synastry chart, it all comes together. It's like a picture finally showing the whole story. And that's all I have today. I will be back soon with other Synastry charts, and if you're interested in hearing about those, press the subscribe button to stay in the loop, and like, share, and leave me some comments below and tell me what you think. And have a nice day.